So we're going to talk about square roots and cube roots. The square root comes from the idea that if you know the area of a square, you should be able to find its dimensions. Thus, the word square. Where do you think the word cube root comes from? Let's talk about square roots a little more. So if we had these squares and we wanted to know what the length of the side of a square is, we would say, oh, well, we have two s's multiplied together, or a number multiplied by itself, and the answer is 121. So you could go through your list of squares and find 121 right here, and you would find that the answer is 11. So the length of this side must be 11 because 11 times 11 is 121. For B, the area of this square is 81. So what must be the length of its side? If we look over here for 81, you can find that the length of that side must be 9. 9 times 9 is 81. 324, what must be the length of that side? 324, that's our number. So we go over here and we look for 324 and we find it right here. So the length of that side is 18. 361, looking here, 361, oh, that's the very next number. So the length of the side is 19. 225 must be 15. 15 times 15. Now here we have one, 2.89. So let's just forget about the decimal and look for 289. If we look for 289, we see it right here. But it's not 289, it's 2.89 with two decimals. So if you put a point here and a point here, when you multiply, there would be two decimal places, so you'd move your decimal over twice, and that would be your answer. So the length of this side is 1.7 and 1.7. And lastly, how about a fraction, 4/9? Let's find this number and this number separately. So we look for 4 and we find the answer is 2, and a 9, the answer is 3. So the answer to this must be 2/3, because 2/3 times 2/3 equals 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 3 is 9. So the length of the side would be 2/3. All right, so now did you decide what cube root meant? Right, it comes from the volume of a cube. If you can know the volume of the cube, you should be able to, you should be able to find the length of the side. And so a cube root is multiplying a number together by 3 times, s times s times s. And we would write it as s with a little 3. And so the opposite of cube is a cube root, and we write it like this. Most people know that a square root in a square root looks like this. So this is actually a 2 understood here, and so s squared is the same as a square root. Well, they undo each other. They're not equal, actually. We'll just make a little arrow. So a square and a square root undo each other, and a cube and a cube root undo each other. So what is the length of this side of this block? Well, we have to look for 343 on a cube chart. So if we look at this cube chart and we look for 343, 7 times 7 times 7 is 343. So the length of this is 7 inches. Here's a couple more. If we look for 27, what times what times what equals 27? Looking at our little chart, whoops, I put 9 right there. That's supposed to be a 27. Right there it is, 3 times 3 times 3. So this is the side of length 3, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, sorry. What about this one? Do you know what multiplies together 3 times to get 125? 125 is 5 cubed. So the length of this side would be 5. What multiplies together to get 1? The only thing that does that is 1 times 1 times 1. But this one is a decimal, so you might guess that the length of the side isn't 1, it's 0.1. 0.1, 0.1, because it multiply 1 times 1 times 1 is still just 1. But then we have 3 decimal points. We have to move it over 3 places, which would give us that volume of 0.001. 1/8, when we have a fraction, we do the cube root of the top number and the cube root of the bottom number separately. So the cube root of 1, of course, is 1, and the cube root of 8 is 2. So our answer to that one would be that the length of the side is 1/2. So that's just a little introduction to where the square and the cube root comes from. Hopefully it helps give you